What's up, dudes? I just wanted to talk to you guys about something. Last night I was in a Bible study group that meet every Thursday, and we were studying Luke 22, and it was about when Peter denied Christ before the rooster crows. Peter denied Christ 3 times before the rooster crows. Rooster crows. That's 2 different type of birds. But um, anyway, so Peter denied Christ 3 times before the rooster crows, and there was something in that passage that really stood out to me. I'm not going to tell you guys yet what stood out to me in that passage, but a lot of times Jesus in the Bible would attract people unto him. He would draw people unto him. In fact, he would say things like, "And I, if I be lifted up, will draw all men unto me." That means I will attract all men unto me. In Peter's case, when Jesus was walking on water, Peter started walking on water, and then he doubted. And when he doubted, Peter sank. And what happened was Jesus pulled him, drew him unto him closely. What was Jesus trying to say? Jesus is trying to say that we need to be close to Christ. We need to be really close to Christ spiritually. I mean, if Jesus was here walking around, you can be physically close to him, but are you close to him? Like, is your spiritual life close to him? Are you spiritually close to him? And I believe that if you're spiritually close to him, you would not deny him. Remember, Jesus said in the Bible, if any man come after me, let him deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me. So following Christ means to deny yourself. And if you deny yourself, you're not going to deny Jesus Christ because you're following him. But this applies, sure, it applies physically, but it more so applies in a spiritual sense. Did Peter follow Christ closely? Did Peter follow Christ closely? I mean, think about it. Peter followed Christ physically, in a physical sense. He thought that Christ was going to be this king that's going to break the Jews from Roman oppression, right? And so this was what Peter and the rest of the disciples thought was going to happen, and Peter didn't follow closely Christ's words. I mean, he doubted him so many times, right? He doubted when Jesus said, "Look, this is what's going to happen to me. I'm going to die, and I'm going to, they're going to take me away. I'm going to die." And Peter said, "Far be it from you, Lord." And then Jesus says, "Get thee behind me, Satan." So Peter doubted Christ's words. Peter doubted Christ's words, and he didn't get it. Like, he didn't get the mission. I think if Peter followed him closely spiritually, he would get the mission. He would know that not to deny Christ and not to deny his words, because he, just by that example, he denied Christ's words. Therefore, he denied Christ. So Peter have already been denying Christ before that actually happened, when before Jesus Christ was about to die. Peter had already been denying Christ, like doubting him, doubting his words. And Peter had already been not following him closely spiritually, in a spiritual sense. Now check this out. Check out in Luke 22. Luke 22 and verse 54 makes it clear. I believe that the Bible, every verse in the Bible has a spiritual application. What did Peter do when Jesus was taken away? What did Peter do? This guy who was about to who took his sword out and stroke somebody in the ear and took out their ear. What did he do? In Luke 22 and verse 54, when Jesus was taken away, it says that Peter followed him from afar. Peter followed him from afar. Now, of course, this is in a literal sense, but I believe that this is also a spiritual sense. Peter followed him from afar. He wasn't there with him spiritually. He wasn't there following Christ closely spiritually. He followed him from afar. And this is evidence when Jesus was talking to the disciples, and Jesus said, look, this is what's going to happen to me. And Peter says, far be it from you, Lord. Peter didn't know. I mean, Jesus said it so plain and simple. Look, this is what's going to happen to me, guys. And Peter was not closely following him spiritually. He didn't believe his words. He didn't believe that he didn't believe what Christ was trying to say. So he did not closely follow him. And that verse, Luke 22 and verse 54, is so clear to me. Peter followed him from afar. Now, when Peter was accused of being a follower of Christ, the first person that accused him was a maid, a woman. What is a woman a symbol of in the Bible? A church. In Ephesians, Paul would say things like, husbands, love your wives just like Christ loved the church, because the church symbolically is a woman. In Jeremiah 6 and verse 2, God called Israel, God's true church, God's true people, he called Israel a daughter of Zion. The daughter of Zion. She was a comely and delicate woman. That's in Jeremiah 6 and verse 2. A woman is a symbol for a church, and Peter is Peter is a follower of God, of Christ, quote quote. And what happened was, so in Luke 22, I think it's in verse 55, Peter sat next to the fire, and Peter sat next to the fire. That's a spiritual. There's a spiritual application there, but we'll not talk about that right now. Peter sat next to the fire. And the maid, the woman, accused him of being a follower of Christ. And what did Peter do? He crumbled during persecution. He crumbled during persecution. He said, no, I don't follow this guy. What are you talking about, woman? I don't follow Jesus Christ. And he crumbled under persecution. Now, if you look at it prophetically, is there going to be a woman in the future that's going to persecute the people of God? Revelation 17, the harlot is going to be drunk with the blood of the saints. That's us. And if we don't follow Christ closely, we will deny him. So then is it important then for us to follow Christ closely? Very important. Very important for us to follow Christ closely. I mean, use Peter's story for example. Did he follow Christ closely? At first, no. Like spiritually, no. He doubted Christ a lot of times. He doubted what Christ would say a lot of times. A lot of times he didn't get it because he didn't follow Christ spiritually closely. But I believe that if he would have followed Christ spiritually closely, he would not deny him. And that's why Christ would say things like, if any man come after me, let him deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me. You get what I'm saying? Deny yourself, not Christ. Follow Christ closely, not yourself. So when it comes that time, before before the rooster crows, which is two different birds, you guys know what I'm talking about. Before the rooster cock-a-doodle-doos 3 times, we gotta follow Christ, man. We gotta follow Christ closely, spiritually, closely. And if we follow Christ closely, we would not deny him. He will give us the power to say no to denying Christ. Praise God always. Peace out. See you guys later. ICYA Devotionals. Make sure you guys go there and subscribe. I didn't realize I was actually preaching to this guy right here. Oh, you can't see him. Anyway, peace out.